Chaps, I am so proud. I've got Mike Bechet on Ep.07 of the Pinnacle X Therapy podcast. Mike, to me personally, is probably the best sports coach I've ever been engaged with. And what's more special about Mike is that he is a true family man, but someone who's dedicated himself to developing kids in a few major schools, which we'll touch on just now. But he's developed kids and superstars his own way. And with his unique skills and talents, we're going to dive in today. And I really wanted to get Mike on the podcast because, and apt enough, it's the first for 2025, and I'm super excited and super proud to have you on here, Mike. I really appreciate you taking the time. And now in your retirement, which is not a retirement, in Pietermaritzburg, I wish you all the best there. But we want to dive into a few things, if that's okay. Welcome, Mike. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Doug. Lovely to be here. Lovely to catch up again after, what seems like a lifetime. So it's wonderful to see you again. And I've been following a few of your chats online.
Awesome.
And
Awesome. So, okay, so we don't have much time. We've got 30 minutes. So let's just dive into this quickly. So let's start from the beginning. What sparked like that coaching bug for you? What sparked that?
Look, when I matriculated at DHS, I didn't know what to do. And
a proud DHS old boy. Let's put it out there. Yeah.
Well, I am very proud DHS old boy. I actually had my 50-year reunion in 2023.
Awesome. Yeah.
But initially, I wanted to be a doctor. But when I wrote my matric, my marks would suggest that wasn't going to be the way I went. So I went off to the Defence Force and I spent a year at the Parabats. And my mum said, "What do you want to do?" I said, I've got no idea. She said, "Why don't you get involved with physical education? We can get you into roads and you love your sport. Go down there and do a BA Phys Ed degree," which I did. And then I did an honours and then I did a teaching diploma. And I actually got posted to DHS initially. And then I went to UCT to start another degree, sports science degree under Tim Noakes. And in about May that year, I'd been paying the education department back quite a large sum of money every month because I'd been on an education loan. And I bailed from that. And the only teaching position the department had was Maritzburg College. So I threw everything in there, 150% as a phys ed teacher. And my other major was actually psychology. So I did a bit of counseling. And the rest is history. As a schoolmaster, as opposed to a teacher, you got to get involved in the coaching setup. So having played cricket at DHS for the first team for a couple of years and having played hockey, I actually had a couple of games in grade 8, so second form. It depends how old you are, who's listening here, at DHS in the fourth team. And I just thought that's what I really want to be doing. So I'll do the teaching in the morning and I'll do the coaching in the afternoon. And I just threw my whole lot into it. And I think the secret to where I've ended up is the fact that I've aligned myself with people with knowledge in the coaching sphere. Guys like in hockey terms, the late Puffy Edwards, who was a college old boy. And I've done a hell of a lot of reading of top sports coaches, top captains, top teams, and why they are as they are. And taken the common thread that goes through all of those. I've got a library here. I almost needed a separate truck to bring my library of books down that go across a wide range of sports, from rugby to soccer to cricket to hockey to American football, rugby league, you name it, of guys who've really cut it at the top level. So, I've just followed that passion. I told the Jeppy guys when I had a farewell, they gave me a really good farewell assembly, that I'd never had a job. And, of course, the whole hall you could have heard a pin drop. And they looked at me and I said, "This has never been a job for me. It's just been a passion, Yeah. So I just followed my passion. I've probably not been the best father because I've spent most of my life with other people's kids. but I love my boys dearly. So, yeah.
So, Mike, with regards to your core principles that you've built in your coaching, tell me about that,
Okay, I place quite a big emphasis on character of people. A lot of people have got talent these days. If you haven't got character, in other words, resilience, self-discipline, passion, a want to get better every training session, every game, every day. I want to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. I really seek out characters. I love coaching mavericks, guys who other people don't really want because they can't handle them. But if you can get through to a maverick, you've got a match winner there. And I've had a good couple of those guys coming through my hands in the last 43 years.
Peterson being one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about KP, he's actually out here, he's in Durban today.
Yeah.
We had a right arm leg spinner, Matthew Cairns, and KP was an offie. He wasn't a batter in those days. He was an offie who batted at 7-8. And I just chose Faf Cairns ahead of him because I like a ball that goes away from the right-hander. And KP was also under 16 in grade 11. And his first year open was in matric. And then Faf and family, it's Ian Cairns and Tessa, they emigrated to New Zealand, KP into the side, and the rest is history. And he developed his batting skills, in my humble opinion, when he went to England, to Cannock Cricket Club.
Okay. Interesting characters. And I mean, these kind of guys, I mean, which you've had go through your ranks, the David Millers and all sorts of guys. How do you get the best out of those guys with your passion and your drive and your no-nonsense attitude as such, that as a coach, but you keep them loving the game? How do you do that?
Well, I think the big picture for me is, obviously, when you're coaching at schoolboy level, there are two things you're trying to do. You're trying to make these guys better at what they do, and you're also trying to grow a love for the game. So for me, people say to me, how many unbeaten this and how many unbeaten that? That's absolutely, I don't pay any attention to that whatsoever. But if you ask me how many guys have gone onto the franchise system and the international stage, that's what we aim for. It's like when you buy a step ladder, and you don't know anything about step ladders, and the guy shows you, listen, you open it up and you sort of lock the halfway, those little things, and then you put one foot on the first step, but you must hold tight, because the thing might go over. And if you're clever, you'll get someone to hold the bottom of the ladder because you've never seen one of these things before. So to me, I'm trying to equip guys with a ladder and show them how it works. So when they walk out the gate, they've got that ladder and they can utilize it wherever they go. And one of the other things I used to say to kids was, you must understand that I'm a schoolmaster, so I'm going to be hard on you. I'm not compromising on anything.
Yeah.
And understand that the next person that coaches you is doing it for a living. I've never felt ever threatened by, if we lose a game on a Saturday, I'm going to be fired as a coach. Okay. But I said, when you go into the next stage of your career and you're playing franchise cricket, and I'm talking cricket specifically because hockey is not a paid game, and the coaches are earning money, and you don't perform, there's a chance that he's going to lose his job. He's got a car to pay off. He's got school fees for his kids. He's got a house, etc., etc. So I took great delight when Graham Ford was coaching the Dolphin side. He loved college boys coming into his space because he knew they were disciplined. There were no excuses. And whatever he asked of them, they were only too keen to get on with it. Whereas I think a lot of kids are perhaps overindulged, and I'm not sure if I can do that, or what about this, or why are you late, etc. So I don't do late. So the simple entry level is, I don't do late. I don't do dirty kit. I need commitment. I need passion. I need consistency. And I think I sold myself to kids on the fact that I talk straight to them. Yeah. And I say to them, I'm going to say some really tough things to you. They're not personal. I don't not like you. I've never not picked a kid because I don't like him. I pick people because they got character. And if you almost use some reverse psychology, you chat to kids and try and egg them on to get better. Like there was a guy, Jeppy, a rower. He was a very good rower, a national rower, in fact, at school. And he kept forgetting his phys ed kit. And I said to him, "You'll never go to the Olympics, ever. You've got no chance." He said, "Why?" I said, "You're too disorganized. You're absolutely too disorganized. You'll get to the Olympics, you won't even know when your race is, and you'll get there late." So that's sort of not, it's sort of reverse psychology. What I'm trying to do is get the guy to prove to me that what I'm saying is absolute rubbish, and prove me wrong. Don't show me. I don't go, "Ooh, this guy made it. I feel a fool." Okay, I'm just trying to drive the guy to the next goal, as it were. And the guy went to a junior worlds in rowing, and that's what I try and do, is try and pull the guys further. I speak to kids and tell them I'm going to keep moving the goalposts. When you were at school, you bowled a team out for 30, and I wasn't very complimentary because I said to you,
I remember that. Yeah,
you could have bowled them for less than 10, And talking of that, Samoa were bowled out for 16 yesterday by the South African under 19. So, I'd be saying to them, have you ever bowled a team out for single figures? 16 is not very high, but you keep pushing the envelope. And I think in life, if you can keep pushing the envelope, you're going to get the best out of people.
I know we've discussed off air before how the Proteus tail can wag, and it's unacceptable. When you put the knife in, you've got to turn it, and I think there's some ownership that needs to take place here. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on. One of the things you say, the kids that you pick and stuff like that. I know you picked Jonty Rhodes when he was in grade 9, so third form in our terms, for first team, and he then proceeded to make the SA Schools hockey side. Correct?
Yes. He was in grade 9, third form. So he was still 14, and it wasn't a popular decision at the school at the time. I was asked, did I know what I was doing? And I said, please just give me a chance. I'll manage the situation. I've managed a lot of, I believe in fast tracking kids, and hockey caters for that. So does cricket.
That's my question to you. Do you believe in, if the kid is super talented, to move him through, as long as he's managed properly?
Yeah, I do. You've got to manage them properly, though. So in a school like college, where there's a pecking order from second form to sixth form, you've got to manage guys. You've got to say to guys, listen, you might be playing with the 18-year-olds, but your friends are actually 14, and never forget that, because when the 18, 17, 15-year-olds leave, you're going to be left with your mates. If you have shunned them and not actually spent time with them, then when you get to matric, you're going to be a very unhappy fellow. Yes. So I would keep my eyes. Dave Miller was the same. He also opened the batting at 14. I would keep my eye on those guys. I had a big investment in them, and to ensure that they didn't hang around where the boys older than them, and as you know, at college there are 4 quadrangles where the different grades hang out at tea time. I said, I don't want to catch you in any of those other quads ever. And you will walk the long way around to the nets, etc. But once we get on the field, we are as one. And with Jonty, as a 14-year-old, as I say, I said, please just trust me, give me a chance. And he just started shooting the lights out from day one. Yeah. And then in standard 8, I took him to what in those days was an Ascension Festival, now called a Nomads Festival. And the SA Schools coach was there, coaching a team from Bloemfontein called Brebner, who had a good hockey reputation in the 80s. And we beat them 6-1, and Jonty smashed in 4 goals. And this guy said, geez, who's this guy? I said, well, this is Jonty Rhodes. He said, I hope I see him at RPT. Well, he went to RPT, interprovincial, under 18, as a under 15 boy, and made the SA school side then for 3 years, obviously.
Unbelievable. And Mark, what do you say to, let's say, principals of schools or sports departments where they argue it's a maturity thing that the kid mustn't go through? What do you say
Again,
about
it's
that?
all about. I mean, I'm not. This is no disrespect to anyone,
No,
but I
absolutely.
don't think a lot of headmasters have actually been in the trench and been faced with things like that. And I would back myself once I've selected the guy. Very quickly, I'd see if it's not working. And if it's not working in the interest of the kid, I'd put him back to his specific age group. But if you're good enough, you're young enough, you've got to play.
Yeah.
Obviously, in games like rugby, there are box smart rules, etc., which are very, very good. You can't have, in rugby, which is a physical game, a guy in grade 10, for instance, who would be under 16, might be a big guy, but he's not quite physically mature. He might be big, but he's battle hardened, certainly not battle hardened to play a guy who's failed somewhere along the line and is under 19 in matric, who's playing schoolboy rugby. He might not be able to go to Craven Week, but he's playing schoolboy rugby. There's a huge danger there.
Yes,
so the box smart guys are 100% right. But in cricket and in hockey, which are not physical per se, guys of 120 kilograms are not running into you and breaking your ribs, etc. If you're good enough, I believe you've got to play. We've got a kid up at Jeppe at the moment called Lincoln Casillas, he's the best batsman in the school. He's in grade 9 now. He was grade 8 last year. Last year as a grade 8, he was the best batsman in the school. And to me, was good enough. He played Premier League cricket in Joburg, which is, it's quite tough up there, as a standard 6 boy. And I'm going, if he can play there, surely he can play here. And he's a humble, mature, comes from a very, very sober-minded family. And again, you've got to manage it. And I would back myself all the time to manage those things. So I don't believe in policies that are set in stone. I believe that, the headmasters have got to trust the coaches. And look, there are a lot of young coaches, and I think the trend has changed a bit. There are not a hell of a lot of schoolmaster coaches left in the profession.
Yeah.
So a lot of schools are relying on outside coaches. So they don't see what goes on in the corridors or what you hear in the staff room of how kids behaving in a class or whatever. Because people will walk and say, one of your cricketers, and geez, then I'd go and hunt the guy down and say, what are you doing? Why are you being an idiot in class? Because if you're being an idiot in class, it's going to come out in the cricket field, and I'm not going to tolerate that.
Yeah.
So sort yourself out and move forward, because that's a characteristic, for
Absolutely.
guys. Yeah. I used to joke with the rugby guys at Jeppe, because I taught grade 12 for a couple of years, and there were some provincial players there, and they'd sort of sleep in late for a lesson, and I'd say to them straight, I'd never pick you. What position do you play? And the guy would say flank. I said, I'd never pick you if I was a coach. The first thing, why, sir? I said, because you'd be late to the breakdown, and that means we wouldn't get the ball.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they sort of add it all up after a couple of, banging their heads a few times and go, geez, I said, either you are on point or you're not on point. You can't be on point when you're on the field and off point when you're in the classroom. You're either a guy who is driven or not driven. I can't deal with inconsistent sort of kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. So we kind of brought our kids up on a book called Bringing Up Champions. And parenting and sport. That is times have changed now. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Give me your feeling about how parents should be involved in sport at school. And maybe dig a little bit deeper into that, because I think a lot of the audience would like to hear about that.
Okay, I'll start by saying this. 90% of kids stop playing their chosen sport because of, I quote, the drive home with dad. And by that is, at no point in time, dad will come to watch. He's just bought the kid a 10,000 Rand bat. He's got a Jaffa, been bowled for naught. And the old man says, what kind of shot was that? At no point in time is the parent going, well, how was the game? Like, well done, you guys won. I see you didn't get a run, but that's not, you fielded well, and did you enjoy it? Because effectively, if you ask any sporting kid, would he prefer 8 to 2:30 in the classroom, or 2:30 to 5:30 on the sports field and all day Saturday on the sports field? I know what the answer to that is. It's definitely not 7:30 to 1 or 2, whatever it is in the classroom. I mean, a lot of kids go to school because they have to, they listen, and if they're good sportsmen, they're generally driven as well. And the other thing is, I think a lot of parents who are unself-fulfilled, be it in business or having not played a game, are too helicopter-like. They got an opinion on everything. I've got an opinion on who should play in the Springbok rugby team. But you think Rassie cares?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So parents have got to be supportive. The other thing parents must actually focus on is going to watch the team, and I'll say it again, the team that their kid plays in, not watch their kid play, because it's not about their kid. We're talking team sports here, okay? So to go and watch your kid and wave your arms around on the boundary or on the side of the field is not helping. You're just putting added pressure on the kid. It's to sit down. I mean, my late mum used to sit on the far side of the field, have a cigarette, mind her own business, watch the game, go home. Was that fun? Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. But you got out first ball. That's okay. Practice on Tuesday. I'll fix it. I'll be back next week.
Yeah.
So they're missing the point. They are too involved. You know, for me, parents should go along and actually be offering, you know, can I bring some eats on Saturday? Or would you mind if I rounded up the other parents and we lit a fire in the corner and had a braai and whatever?
Absolutely.
Pleasure. And generally speaking, you'll find if a kid stays in the school long enough, certain schools have feeder schools. So you can end up actually having a sort of relationship with other parents, literally from grade 4 all the way through to matric, if you end up in the same primary school stroke high school. And it actually then becomes fun. It doesn't become a chore going to watch your kid play. And then your other kids also meet other kids on the side of the field, young kids. I always look at boys' sisters and think, gee, you must be hating this. You know, the old, right, we're all going to my class to watch cricket today, and the daughter goes, oh, my word, I don't really want to be sitting up in my class all day. But in fact, you meet other people, you learn to converse, which is another issue today with kids being unable to converse because they finger trigger happy on their phones and whatever else, and got the earphones in it, etc. So, you know, I would be saying to parents, go and support your kid, go and watch him, and just go and enjoy it. It's a day out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, rather stay away. Don't be obsessive, compulsive, and live it through your kid. Don't do that. That's going to ruin them. They're going to give up very quickly.
Yeah, most parents at junior school think their kids are Springboks, you know, Proteas, international superstars already. And like you say, by the time they get to high school.
And then they start throwing money, extra coaching and extra this and extra that. And the extra coaching thing is an interesting situation, because the extra coaching, I'm talking about outside of school, I do it for money.
Yeah.
Okay. They'd be saying things like, if an under 15B player comes to him for coaching, they'd be saying things like, what team are you playing? The kid will say under 15B. Geez, I can't believe that. Hey, you know, your A team must be really, really good. And in my opinion, you should be an A team player. And that's what the kid wants to hear. So they keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. You're undermining the coach, as it were.
Yeah.
And the key thing is, in fact, to support the coach. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it can be very easily undermined. So yeah, that's a key.
I mean, talking of supporting the coach, what I've seen in modern day schooling in South Africa is a lot of the time the coaches aren't supported by the leadership of the schools, because the schools run like a business, so the parent is the most important, and that's, to me, just seems upside down. It just seems wrong.
It is. They are being run a bit like businesses. I mean, the best headmaster I worked for was Ken Elliott at Maritzburg College. I worked for Keith Olivier. He just let you get on with it. Dudley Ford let you get on with it. Clive Pearson was there for a short while, let you get on with it. Ron Jury let you get on with it. And Ken Elliott, in fact, was the top guy. And he was really a human being. There would be a note in my pigeonhole every Monday morning. Thanks for giving up your weekend. Well done on the win against DHS.
Wow.
Or a lovely athletics meeting on the weekend. Proud of you. And then every now and then you'd get something which says, please see me. And then you knew there was something on the go. Yeah. And he'd call you and sit you down. They shut the door and say, I didn't like the way you behaved next to the Astro on Saturday. And in the same breath, he'd say, how are we looking for this weekend? So he made you feel like you'd let him down, let alone the school, and you just wanted to fix that right there. You wanted the next game in his office, and to show him that you were the guy. So Ken was a guy who'd played Natal Schools cricket, Natal Schools tennis. He was a 6A academic or 7As in matric. He was a provincial rugby referee.
Good leadership.
He was at one, a bright guy. He'd been a teacher. He'd been a HOD, a deputy. He'd been a headmaster at Kingsway or somewhere down the coast there, and then ended up back at college. So he was the best guy. And you always knew that whatever you were doing, he really appreciated you doing that. Because effectively in a school, you could have a coup where people would say, I'm not doing that. In fact, it's starting in cricket already. I'm not umpiring cricket all day. I'm not doing that. And I'd say, why? It's just the whole day. And I say, yeah. Gee, it's 100 overs. I said, yeah, your maths is good. That's very good. I'd say, I'm still alive. I've done that my whole life. What's the problem?
I still remember facing Brett Schultz, and I faced him for exactly six balls. and you were the umpire, and on the sixth ball, I don't even think it was hitting the wickets, but I missed all six. I heard the ball, and on the sixth ball, you just shot me. He says, Elwood, take your stuff and go. Sir, I'm out here. I can't see anything.
I don't remember that specific incident, but I remember him. He hadn't spent a day at Kingswood yet, and he arrived at it was the Alex week.
Yeah, that's right.
Alex week, and we played down at the Oval.
That's right.
Before they, etc., etc. Shame the late Michael Patrick was a groundsman, and Brett Schultz. I just saw the size 13 shoe coming past my right ear, and when he let the ball, I thought, oh my God, I don't know if my guys are going to cope with it. But I think we might even have won that game.
I think we drew it.
Of course, we played calm.
Yeah. Mark, a couple of things. What do you know your record offhand for hockey and for cricket at college and JP?
No.
How many times was it Team SA number one for hockey?
Oh no, I can't. No, I haven't got the record of that.
But wasn't it like 10 years in a row or something stupid?
Oh, Doug, I haven't got those things added up. I just know
but just for the audience sake, I mean, you guys can all look it up, but you can just see where Mike Bechet's coached the team. And I said to my wife when you went to JP, I said, watch JP. They're gonna hockey and cricket. Watch. It's just phenomenal what you do and what you get out of a team, Mark. And I mean, even to this day, David Miller's father-in-law, he is one of my very good friends, and you know, he tells me even to this day that how much he respects you, you know, from what he learned back then at college, and it's amazing. I mean, what you've taken forward. So to kind of, because we've got like 5 minutes left, I want to know what inspires you now. You know, you come to your retirement, you've worked through all these years, helped so many kids turn into superstars. But what inspires you today? And who inspires you? Who inspires you? Another question.
Oh, geez, a whole number of people. I mean, geez, it's a difficult question.
It is.
Alex Ferguson, Jurgen Klopp, Rassie, you know, who's younger than me. I'm self-driven, Doug. I mean, right here, right now, my job is to coach the under 14A cricket team at college and the under 14A hockey team at college.
Wow.
And to get them running. I met the guys. I actually was meant to start yesterday, but they had athletics. So I'll see them for the first time at a training session tomorrow at college of 14A. I watched them play Westville and get hammered on Saturday. There's lots of work to do there. Oh, my word. There's a huge amount of work. But we've got to try and get them better each week. That's all.
Yeah.
And, you know, I actually went on pension 5 years ago, but was lucky enough to get a 1-year rolling contract at Jeppy, which was nice for 4 years. And that came to an end. I was told in 2023 that at the end of 2024, I wouldn't be getting a contract renewal, which was all well and good. So I started looking around, whatever. And I always had this feeling that I'd come back to Maritzburg and coach whoever, wherever people wanted me.
Yeah.
And that's my gig. So I'm inspired to be the best I can be. When I went to Jeppy, I made it my mission that whatever we play at college, I'd try and take them down. When I started at college, whenever we played DHS, I'd try and take them down.
Yeah.
It's just like, I suppose it's just a pride thing. So now I'm back at college and we're going to get on with the business there. And let's see how things pan out.
The best news I've heard. Best news I've heard.
Yeah. And obviously Merchiston, I'm doing some work there as well. In the cricket space, consulting with the A teams, and that's also been fun. It's a hell of a challenge. I mean, these little guys. I've got kids who are sons of kids that I taught. So I'm like the grandfather, you know, of the gig. So it's interesting. But they're lovely little guys to coach. They're very enthusiastic, and on we go. You know, if I can make a difference wherever, that's my gig. I just want to be.
Yeah.
I'm dying to share knowledge and share experience because, unfortunately, certainly in government education, when you get to 65, that's you gone. Doesn't matter if you feel 45, and you know, if you're 30 and you operate like a 90-year-old, that's okay. But the other way around is not. I mean, I still run in the mornings. I'm not training for anything other than to stay alive.
Yeah.
So I feel good about what I'm doing.
Well, Mark, we have to bring this to an end, and but I really appreciate your time and what the guys out there. I'm just letting you know that Mark's details will be at the end of this podcast, and there will be some nice photos shared there. So if you want to get in contact and look a bit deeper into some little stories of Mark, it'll all be there. And Mark, I really appreciate your time. And thanks for admitting off air that the 1989 cricket team was the best you've ever coached. I really appreciate that.
You're going to get me into trouble.
Only joking.
All right.
But Mark, thanks so much, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to wish you all the best, my friend, because I know you're going to do a fantastic job, and I look forward to seeing you and maybe having a beer with you in Maritzburg and having a catch up. But once again, go for it and all the best. Guys, I'll see you on the next podcast. And I really, really would like you to share this out to as many schools, parents, friends as possible. So yeah, until then, we'll see you on the next podcast. Cheers.
Thanks. Take care, Doug.
Cheers, Mike.
I'm searching for the spirit of the great heart under